Everybody, welcome back to another Street Fight Club pod show. I'm EBar, and I'm being joined here by Chatty P, Chad Peppers. What's up, dude?
What up, my brother?
Well, okay, that's racist. And the creator of Charlie, part of it, half of it, third of it, Finest. He's here too.
Just a third. But at least I'm not racist.
Finest only likes one half of the porn, and it's not the half you're thinking of.
I don't get it.
Whenever Finest was on the co-op crew show, the way I introduced him in numerous episodes was that this is Finest and he's a bigot. And that is how I want people to see removed. Yeah, I mean, if you know Finest, like, he grew up a bigot, you know what I mean? And I don't even blame his family. Like, they were all very, like, welcoming to people and open, but he just was like, you know what? You ain't like me, then fuck you. So anyway.
I have that tattooed on my back.
Anyways, okay, so WrestleMania 33 was a couple of weeks ago, and The Undertaker faced Roman Reigns in what it seems like is going to be his last match, because not only did he lose at WrestleMania again, but after the match, he takes off his hat, he takes off his gloves, takes off his jacket, takes off his pants. No, not his pants, but he takes all that, all the other stuff and kind of just lays it in the middle of the ring. He goes outside the ring. He kind of breaks kayfabe, but he goes over and kisses his wife, who is Michelle McCool, who used to be a wrestler as well. And, he's got to go have hip surgery. He's 52. It seems like this is going to be the swan song for The Undertaker. So we figured we'd talk about, because while these guys don't watch wrestling or keep up with it currently, they did in the past. Like, Chad is one of the people that actually got me into wrestling in the first place.
Roman Greco, naked wrestling.
Yeah, it was.
We started out with baby oil wrestling,
and we ended with baby oil wrestling. No, but we're just gonna talk about like moments from The Undertaker that we remember. Chad watched before me, and obviously he doesn't watch anymore, but so he might remember some more early Undertaker that I don't. And then Finest and I kind of overlapped whenever we got into wrestling, like during high school and shit. So are there any moments that stick out for you guys as far as The Undertaker goes?
I mean, the big obvious one is because I was always a Mankind fan as well. Mm-hmm. The Mankind Undertaker Hell in a Cell, like that's got to be the number one moment in my mind.
That is a huge moment, and the only thing that bums me out about that is I became a wrestling fan in like November of that year, if I remember correctly, of 1998. So I had like just missed being able to like buy a pay-per-view or watch that live. We've all seen it a billion fucking times, Mankind flying off the Hell in a Cell. But, it's one of those things that
it's still amazing. Every time you see it, how does someone do that? Like, how does that work?
It's fucking, and I mean, if you listen to the commentary, JR, of course, is classic. He's like, oh, as God is my witness, he's broken in half and all that shit. But like, as soon as Mankind hits that table, if you listen, Jerry Lawler is like, that's it, he's dead. Like, he really thinks that the dude is dead, and you fall off something like that, and you could be. And it's like, you've seen other like Hell in a Cell shit now, or maybe you guys haven't, but like last year, the Hell in a Cell is a little bit bigger than it used to be now. And last year at WrestleMania, Shane fought The Undertaker at WrestleMania in Hell in a Cell, and he ended up coming off the top of it. But like, it wasn't the same. Like, it was padded, and which makes sense because you don't have a death wish really, but it's just not quite the same because and I was listening to an interview with Mick Foley on the Chris Jericho podcast recently, and they were talking about how it's like a lot of times when people do these falls or huge jumps like off a cage or something, they're doing it themselves. They have time to mentally prepare and then jump or whatever. Whenever he's facing the Undertaker just throws him off the fucking cell. You know, it's insane. And then he goes through it again, well, the first time he goes off the cell, the second time he gets choke slammed, goes through the cell, and it lands in the ring, which just seems crazy brutal. He lost teeth. There was a tooth in his nose. Like, you can watch the footage. It's fucking insane. But, yeah, I mean, obviously that is a huge moment. Maybe more so for Mankind than The Undertaker, because Undertaker was dishing the punishment out rather than
I mean, it made Mankind look like a badass, but it also made Undertaker just look like this ruthless, super scary, just
gives zero
man.
fucks. Yeah.
I will murder someone in the ring if I have to.
And, he damn near did. Like, that could have gone wrong so many ways. And it's not like Mick didn't agree to it. It's not like you just threw him off a cell like an asshole. But, it still was just fucking insane. So
can you imagine from the first fall? They'd already gone through a match at this point. I mean, this is a long time into the match. This happens. Like, he's hurting. They're like, oh man. Like, most people would be like, all right, let's just finish this up.
Well, they start the match.
How much it hurts to land halfway on a table, halfway off of it, from that high up in the air, and then have the balls to be like, all right, I'm gonna climb back up there, and I know that he's gonna slam me through this again.
Yeah. Well, he decided to start the match on top. Like I said, I listened to this interview. He said that he was talking to Terry Funk before he went out there and was like, okay, well, I'm gonna start the match on top of this because there may have only been one other Hell in a Cell before that, but the first one was Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, and Shawn falls off of the cell, but he wasn't on top of it. He was just kind of hanging on it. So it wasn't nearly as brutal. So it's like, okay, well, let's start on top of the cell, and which is just fucking crazy. And then you get someone like Undertaker, 6'10", climbing up this fucking cell, and it's just straight insanity. But I mean.
And I know that you said that there's been similar moments since then, but has there ever been a moment in WWE that's truly topped that moment since then?
As far as like, as far as something in a match that is like unplanned, like that, nothing that I can think of. I mean, I think that Rikishi maybe during that time period had like, I can't remember if he fell off a cell or whatever, but he fell pretty far, but he was specifically planning to fall in like this brush pile of hay that was in the back. I can't remember why it was there, but he fell in like a bunch of hay that was in the back of a truck. You know what I mean? Like, it was more planned out. This shit that Mick did was just like, nobody really knew that they were going to go out there and do something that fucking crazy. And he also said whenever he went through the cell, which is the second time he climbed up, that he wasn't even, they were wanting the cell to break so that he would like slowly fall through it or like kind of ooze through it, and then fall.
But that whole panel just fucking gives.
Yeah, and it was just done, and my God, like, I can't imagine. Like, I wish I would have saw it live just because it's that crazy, and not to know, like, oh my God, is this dude okay or what? And then he went on and wrestled for like another year and a half before he became sort of part-time and shit. So very impressive by Mick Foley. But as far as The Undertaker, is there any other Undertaker moments? For me, I want to say one of my favorites is so like Finest. I think were you a big fan of Biker Undertaker?
No, not really.
Okay, for some reason I thought you were, but maybe not. But anyway, so like Undertaker decided, like, I think around the year 2000 that he was going to become a biker, be more of like a real person rather than The Undertaker. Still called The Undertaker. And so
American Badass?
The American Badass. He had Kid Rock for a theme song. He had Rollin' by Limp Bizkit as a theme song. But so he did that for a while, and then I think maybe roughly 3 years or so. So then he loses a Buried Alive match to, I believe it was Vince McMahon, but I think that Kane helped Vince win it. I don't know. It was a long time ago. That was at like a Survivor Series, and then we didn't hear anything from Undertaker until we started leading up to a match at WrestleMania 20 where he was going to face Kane. And I think that might have been the second time he faced Kane at WrestleMania. I don't know. It wasn't the first. But so Undertaker wasn't even there all the way leading up to WrestleMania, because that was like his being reborn and re-debuting as the old school type Undertaker. And like just leading up to that, the way that he would like creep out Kane, there was a lot of really cool shit. But one in particular that I remember was, and I can't remember what happened leading up to it, but Kane's just standing there and everything goes dark and it's got that purple light on him. And this was after Kane had already been unmasked. And so he's being weirded out. And, you know, seeing Kane scared, that at least at that point in time had its own novelty. But so he's standing there on the stage and it actually starts in the arena fucking raining on Kane. Like I think it was like the week before WrestleMania. And that just sticks in my mind as like,
what year was that?
2004, I want to say. Because it was leading up to WrestleMania 20, where, you know, Chris Benoit won the World Championship.
Bringing up Kane reminds me of one of my other favorite moments. You'll have to help me with what pay-per-view it was, but it was whenever they were starting the Kane and Undertaker feud, and you know, like all the burning and shit. But anyway, whenever they had the Inferno match where the ring was on fire, like the outside of the ring was on fire, and they had to catch each other on, like whoever caught the other one on fire won. I think he ended up catching Kane's arm on fire or something.
Yeah, Kane caught on fire, but it's just like his arm, and he's like, whatever. And you know, it got put out immediately afterward. But what the fuck are you gonna do? You're not gonna really set somebody on fire. It's still fucking entertainment.
I mean, back then, like that was whenever I was first getting into wrestling, and you would go to the video store, which kids don't have these video stores anymore, but you go to the video store and rent like 5 wrestling DVDs, VHS, and that was one of the ones I remember watching and was like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah, and I actually just watched that not that long ago on WWE Network, because I was going through, like, I wanted to start like either right before or right as the Montreal Screwjob was happening and sort of start watching through that, just because I thought that was a very interesting starting point if you don't want to watch all the bullshit Raws from like 1993 whenever it was still really gimmicky and shit. But yeah, and the match honestly isn't that great. You know, nostalgia probably will make you think that it's better than it actually was. But it was,
what was that called? Like Blood Brothers or something?
What was it? It was back when they still had In Your House. So yeah. It was a while ago, but I can't remember if it might have been Bad Blood.
Maybe that's it. Yeah, that sounds better.
Bad Blood, In Your House, possibly. But honestly, I can't. It may have been Unforgiven. It's hard for me to remember. But you know, it's entertaining for what it was. Like they would slam each other, and somehow the fucking flames would shoot up. Or it didn't really make a whole lot of sense what was happening. But how good of a match really can you have when you're surrounded by flames the entire time?
And you're afraid that someone really is going to get hurt.
Yeah, I mean, it's real fire. You can't fake that shit. So some dangerous shit. So, Chad, do you remember Undertaker from like earlier 90s or anything like that? Like, I remember, for some reason I remember that you used to like the fucking Texas Tornado. I think it was Kerry Von Erich back then. Like,
do you know who Undertaker is?
Like back in that era, do you remember, like, because cool shit had to happen all the time. There's still Paul Bearer and all that shit. So
yeah, I remember Undertaker like early on, and for some reason I don't remember a whole lot of him whenever it was like the glory days of wrestling, which was like the Degeneration X.
Yeah, like the Attitude Era.
I remember Yokozuna and Undertaker's casket match. I vaguely remember that. I was like, I think in the 90s. Do you remember that? Have you ever seen that?
I haven't seen it, but I mean, it had to have been in the 90s.
Yeah, it was like just a match where they fought, and then you know they had to basically get the other person in the casket and close it or something like that to win.
Yeah,
I think he was a part of a lot of casket matches, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Didn't he have one with Shawn Michaels one time?
Yeah, he had a casket match with Shawn Michaels. I went to WrestleMania 22 and he had a casket match. It was against Mark Henry, but it was fun. But he said casket matches. Mark Henry actually became pretty cool for a while, but
what was
he's still around, but he barely ever
baby?
shows up. Huh?
Was that before or after he had that baby?
the hand?
Yeah, the hand baby.
It was after that.
Okay.
It was after the hand.
Didn't I vaguely remember what was his manager's name?
Paul Bearer?
Yeah, that dude was weird. I remember that dude being weird, and didn't he like turn on him one time and like choke slam him or like bury him or something like that?
He joined Kane for a while, didn't he?
Yeah, he was with Kane for a while, and then I think he might have even Paul Bearer might have even been teamed up with Mankind because for some reason they were all intersecting during like 1998-ish, maybe some 97, maybe even 96. I can't really remember, but their storylines just had a lot to do with each other for a while. And then, but there was one time whenever it was, I don't know if it was a buried alive match or what exactly they were calling it, but it was Undertaker versus the Dudleys, and like whoever lost would be like buried in concrete or something, like a little weird concrete cylinder. So anyways, Paul Bearer is back with the Undertaker at this point. Undertaker beats the Dudleys, then he takes Paul Bearer, puts him in the shit, and turns it on to where concrete comes down on fucking Paul Bearer, and he basically murders Paul Bearer on live TV. Like, there's no reason for it, and it's kind of sad now, especially that Paul Bearer has passed.
Have you watched that really depressing documentary with Paul Bearer? It's like Card Subject to Change, maybe? I saw it on Netflix. But basically, he was working the indie circuit with Coco Beware. He was like being his manager, and it's like he's pretty much like talking about his life and how happy he is still that he's doing all this stuff, and then it's like Paul Bearer is dead.
Oh no! I don't think that I watched that. What was that one? Finest. What was that one that I watched at your house? That was about wrestlers, and one of them, I feel like maybe he had a drug addiction or something.
That might be the same one. There's another one called like Backyard Wrestling that Rob Van Dam was like the narrator.
I don't know. I'd have to look it up. But
there's one that is the one you're talking about have like Road Dogg in it and stuff.
I feel like it was more independent people, but I mean it was so long ago that I really can't remember too well.
Huh.
If you know what I'm talking about, leave a comment down below.
That is sad because he shows his kid and stuff. On that on the one you're talking about?
I just remember one. I just remember because there was like an independent wrestler who was like doing pretty well, and he was like about to blow up, but like demons kept coming in and getting him as far as like drugs and shit. And I think he might have died by the end of it, but
I think so.
I'm not 100% on that. It's been so long.
Like they don't tell you till the end of the documentary that he's dead.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, Undertaker's had a ton of great moments, great matches. We're not going to be able to mention them all, obviously, because the dude's been around for over 25 years. I mean, that's fucking mind-blowing. Well, it's 25 WrestleManias, and I think he missed 2 for injury, so...
Who was it that, in the past, I'm going to say recently, but it's probably not recently, but that he actually chokeslammed through the mat? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Was it Big Show, maybe? Kane?
I was thinking it was someone like Randy Orton or Batista or something.
I know what you're talking about, though, because I remember I might be thinking Kane because Kane has come up from under the mat a couple of times.
Undertaker's pulled that before, too.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about, because it's just like, okay, well, now there's a fucking huge hole in the ring. It's kind of the same thing like when Brock Lesnar suplexed Big Show, did a superplex off the turnbuckle and the whole ring collapsed. Like, it kind of just blows your mind because it's shit that you, under whatever circumstances, don't expect to see. But yeah, that was. I wish I could remember who.
Really cool thing about Undertaker that needs to be mentioned about his career is that he just comes from a time whenever it was just like wrestling was crazy. Like, I mean, he wasn't just he was a character. I mean, he literally was like the dead man or whatever, and
he was like a zombie basically.
He had supernatural powers, and he had the Brood or whatever following him or whatever that was. What was it called?
He had the entire Ministry of Darkness.
The Ministry of Darkness. He had like vampires that were his minions and stuff. I mean,
yeah,
people came out and drank blood before matches, and like it's just. I know that they've got some magical stuff now, but he was nuts back then.
He basically, it wasn't on a cross, although the Undertaker symbol that they used back then was basically a cross. Basically crucified fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin back in like 1999. And, people, I guess, didn't freak out because it wasn't technically a cross, but my God, this shit was close enough. Like, the dude was basically Satan at that point. You know what I mean?
And the WWE was hardcore about it. Like, they never called him by his real name. Mm-hmm. Even, I remember whenever the network first came out, I had it for a little bit, and there was like the best of Undertaker or some kind of Undertaker thing. There's interviews with the man, and he always refers to himself as Undertaker. The video always refers to him as Undertaker. Like
you never hear
anybody
call that dude Mark. You never hear anybody call that dude Mark, and you never like Undertaker doesn't have a fucking Twitter like every other wrestler does, but you ain't gonna see Undertaker tweeting shit. He's fucking he doesn't break kayfabe, and that's so rare, especially nowadays. And you're right, man. He came from a time where gimmicks like that were so cartoony and ridiculous, and somehow his shit has endured for 20 plus years. Which
can you even think of another wrestler who has kept the same gimmick? I mean, I know that he changed to the American Badass or whatever, but he was still Undertaker. Can you think of a person that had the same character ring name their whole career and never went by their real name or never changed that up very much?
I mean, not to the extent of the Undertaker. You know what I mean? Like Kane's always been Kane, but he's changed so much and became like half fucking comedic and tried to go back to being a monster and shit like that. Like Mark Henry's been around since like 96, but he was Mark Henry. He really is Mark fucking Henry. So
he's always been just a weightlifter guy.
Yeah. So, world's strongest man. So that's not really so much of a gimmick as just who he actually is. But, Goldust has been around for a while. But I'm not positive. I think Goldust has a Twitter. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, I follow Goldust on Facebook.
And he's not nearly as gay as he used to be either. Which is, it's like, what's the point of Goldust if he's not going to be a flaming homosexual?
To a lady that we all had crushes on when we were kids.
Oh my God, Terry Runnels was so hot, and her nipples were always hard as fuck. Oh my God, so hot back then, insanely. Like there was the type of girl you would sit there and spend 10 minutes downloading a picture of because it took that long to get pictures on the internet back then, and then you just jack it until you couldn't anymore, basically, or until you fell asleep.
You doing it while I was downloading?
Yeah, you can't quite see the nipples yet, but you're gonna be able to soon, so you just get started early. Yeah, she was hot, man. But but Goldust, he left the company and came back a few times. Nobody has the only other person who stuck with them so long was like Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels had been retired since like 2009, so it's. As much as I would put Shawn Michaels as like the greatest of all time, it's arguable only between the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels for me as far as the greatest WWE superstar of all time.
Did Undertaker have a gimmick before Undertaker in WWF?
Not in WWF. He was in WCW before that as like Mean Mark Calloway or Callis or whatever the fuck, and. He was in WCW before WWE, but as far as WWE, no, he was never it wasn't like with Kane where he had this dentist gimmick for however long. He was just always the Undertaker since he debuted, and he just fucking killed it, man. Like, there's nobody that doesn't respect the Undertaker. So, I don't know what else to say about it. This segment has gone on a very, very long time. So any final thoughts on the Undertaker? It seems like he's done for good. I know that might not matter to you guys anymore, but it hurts my heart a little bit.
I think just hearing about it, it felt like the end of an era for me. Like that, it symbolized kind of the end of what I knew as wrestling. Mm-hmm. That's over now. I mean, it's still Triple H. He's still part of the company, I guess, you know. But
he'll be
in a different aspect, you know. But yeah, that character going away is definitely the death of like that Attitude Era that that I was.
A lot of people's childhoods, you know what I mean? It's the fucking Undertaker.
Well, back then wrestlers were like superheroes to us, you know what I mean? Like they were just as big characters as anything else, like any cartoon or whatever.
Yeah, they weren't just guys that had fucking their name wasn't Bob Thompson, like guys nowadays, which it's fine or whatever as long as you still have an interesting character. You don't have to be like larger than life like that, but there's very few that can match the Undertaker, and I can't think of one right now. So, what do you think, Chad? You gonna miss the Undertaker?
I am. It makes me feel old, actually.
We're all old as fuck. Yeah, Undertaker, 52 years old, been in the WWE for more than half his life. That's fucking mind blowing. He debuted in '91, so. Anyway,
he may end up being like a Michael Jordan, where he goes into retirement, comes out, then he goes plays basketball or something.
Maybe we'll see after his hip surgery how he's feeling, but who knows? He's a tough son of a bitch, though, so I wouldn't put anything past the Undertaker. Anyway, that's all we got to say about the Undertaker. Undertaker, you're fucking cool since you're probably watching this. We just want you to know that you're cool. All right. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, Undertaker. Yeah, thanks, Taker. R.I.P. Not because you're dead, because you're the Undertaker.